My eyes feel dry and burn at the corners. I lay there, motionless, not because I can't move, but because I don't want to. Mood. Exactly. I feel so exhausted. The lower halves of my arms and legs feel like stone pillars. I slowly try to collect myself as I wake up. Sometimes when I'm waking up, it takes a minute to realize I'm even awake. I have to steadily become aware of my surroundings and try to grasp what's going on. I groggily open my eyes. Is this what it's like when people sleep well?
Wouldn't know.
I literally just go, I'm awake. I feel like I'm just like instantaneously awake whenever I wake up, and I'm extremely conscious, and like the struggle is that it like takes active effort to try to go back to sleep. When it, like if I've woken up after like 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep, and I'm like, that's not good, I need to fix that. I have to like actively like try to like get like start doing the whole ritual of trying to go back to sleep, because it's not like I can just like slip back into it. I'm like, I feel like I just had coffee, I'm up. Like, why am I like this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to car, do you feel more functional after that? Like, are you more of a morning person in that case?
I feel like I was a morning person when I had to.
Okay.
I think I'm by definition not a morning person because I keep staying up until like 2 and then waking up at 10 because no one can make me wake up at a specific time. But like I feel like I can get up pretty quickly if I actually slept. Is the gamble. But if I wake up early, it's like, motherfucker, why are you doing this? This isn't time. It's still night. I look out the moonlit window and scan the room, adjusting my eyes. That would make sense considering how much sleep I've already gotten. I raise myself from my reclined position. Halfway up, I feel a tug on my throat, at my throat. It feels like a smooth rope is wrapped around my neck. Suddenly, I'm pulled back by a hard jolt. Then I feel a burning substance lurch down my throat. It's acidic and has terrible taste to it. What's happening? I struggle underneath the grasp of the rope, but it appears pointless. There's a harder tug as it pulls me deeper into the bed. I feel the burning liquid pouring down my throat faster now as my upper body sinks into the covers.
See, this is the soup rag. It's not a fun experience.
No, it's a bad time. No one wants to get soup ragged.
I immediately thought of your nightmare inflation thing that you were
Oh,
God.
earlier.
Richter want nom-noms. I try to scream out for Lyall, hoping that he's in the hall still. Shadows are cast through the crack under the door. It looks like someone's on the other side, standing in front of it. Finally, as my vision begins to fade, along with my hearing, there's a muffled breath in my right ear.
Live.
Blah. Well, I jolt awake, eyes wide open, breathing hard as my chest heaves up and down. The early morning light is pouring through the window, casting a blue hue on the bricks. I hate nightmares, especially the realistic one. They're even scarier when they make sense. It's much different when they consist of preposterous scenarios that could never even happen. Nightmares like the one I just had are the ones that linger in my head for a while afterwards. I really gotta stop drinking before bed. I mutter this to myself, rubbing the sides of my head. I rustle out of the bed and get to my feet. This is interesting. My save is still valid, I guess. So you can see the skip button lighting up and going dull over and over again throughout the scene, like how much has been changed in the last year.
A lot of stuff has changed. Interesting.
Yeah. It keeps flickering in and out as I go. The ground is still a bit cold. I should probably ask if I could have a rug brought up. I walk across the room, my bare feet lightly padding against the cool ground, sending a fresh feeling throughout my body. The stress from the vivid nightmare is slowly fading away as I lightly move towards the window. Once I reach it, I press my hand to the cold glass and look outside. There isn't much to see from this side of the castle, just some mountains in the sky. I wish I had a view of the town. I stare out at the mountains, and the way they cascade down from the sky is like great stone blankets covered in grass. The trees are slowly losing their leaves as winter approaches. I hear the door open and some shuffling. When I turn around, I see Leif standing in the doorway, carrying a tray with food. I see some meat, cheese, bread, and a cream spread. It all looks very good, and I am a bit hungry.
Good morning, Lord Richter. I hope that you slept well.
Good morning, Leif, and no, not as well as one would hope.
I'm sorry to hear that. Either way, you slept more than enough. Some time being awake would do you some good.
He lifts the tray in his hands, adjusting his grip on it.
I thought that I would bring your breakfast up since I also wanted to give you some of this.
He nudges the corner of the tray with where a small bottle shakes around.
You seem to be doing fine right now, but just in case you feel any pain, you can take a spoonful of this.
I rub my side and don't really feel any discomfort. It does feel a bit sore, though. Thank you.
It's no problem, really.
He sets the tray down on the table next to me. On the small table next to my bed. After fiddling with one of the bottles, he turns and looks in my direction. His gaze meets with my side, and he tilts his head in curiosity.
You're healing very fast.
It's quickly. Correcting the doctor. I wrote my side and shrug. Humans do that. You said it yourself.
I did. I have the fortunate opportunity of knowing another human, but she's never been injured this badly. It's very interesting seeing your body recover so fast.
Do humans heal faster in real life than other animals? I have no idea. If this is like based on anything besides like a fantasy idea. I decided to change the subject as I'm afraid he might politely ask to vivisect me. How often do you wear that? I say, limply raising my hand and pointing to his mask.
I find that it's very useful in my profession. I've never gotten sick after helping a patient.
He holds his hands together down by his waist as he idly pats his clawed foot against the ground. Has anyone even seen your face? He looks down with a sigh of defeat, then brings his gloved hands up behind his head.
Of course people have seen my face.
I see him start to fiddle with a little leather latch in the back.
Still, I had to wear this once for a procedure, and ever since, I find a certain comfort in wearing it.
He pulls the mask off, tossing it onto the bed. With a little goober.
Oh, he's a little guy.
Just a little tiny guy. His little mitts and his little witch hat.
There's something about him being a crow that just immediately it's kind of that Undertale level of like, I know exactly what you sound like. Like your voice to a T.
Then he takes his hat off and looks up at me. He looks like a raven, which I find ironic. However, he's about the size of a crow. His little beady green eyes stare up at me with a look of expectancy. Without the mask, he looks a lot more approachable. I know he's a lot older than me, but he's almost cute. I don't know how offensive that is, so I'll refrain from saying anything.
Satisfied?
He says it in a curious, yet slightly annoyed tone. Sorry? Yes, perfectly satisfied. I say this back to him with some satisfaction in my tone. He goes to put his mask back on while averting his gaze. I feel a lot better with you poking and prodding me now that I know what you look like. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad I could make you feel a bit more comfortable.
Now here comes the tube. Steps over to the door and opens it.
If you have any questions, just ask me or anyone around the castle.
Where's Lyall? With it being the first thought to come to mind, I blurted out without any hesitation. Leif pauses for a moment, leaning his head out of the doorway to quickly stare down the hall.
At this time of morning, he could be anywhere.
I wonder if he's sleeping? One would hope he didn't stay out in the halls all night. I try to think of any other questions I might have. I could really use a bath. I feel very unclean. Where is the bathing room?
If you head left, it's at the very end of the hallway, behind the wooden door painted white.
Left, wooden door, painted white. Got it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a nice day.
With that, he leaves through the doorway, and I'm left alone again. I'm glad that I managed to get him to take off that mask. It's not like I'm someone riddled with a contagious disease. As far as you know. Still, if he finds comfort in it, then it's not my place to judge. I walk over to the desk near the door and fidget with some of the things on it. There's a nice-looking quill, which I pick up and twirl around in my fingers. I set it back down, then walk over to my pile of belongings. I'll probably have someone come up and unpack my things later. Once I can arrange them to my liking, I guess I can arrange them to my liking once they're at least out of their trunks. But it's impossible to get them out myself, especially the clothes. I turn back to the tray of food sitting on my bed and carry it over to the desk. Sitting down on the chair, I scoot it forward. It's very comfortable, and the desk is also at the perfect height. I go through the food pretty quickly as I stare out the window and the clouds, at the clouds moving by. Hey, this is heavily revised. Like every second or third line is the script thing goes black.
Yeah.
Before I know it, I'm done with my meal and drink the last drop of water. It only takes a couple of minutes to gather myself and head out to the door. Steeping out into the hallway, the walls are lined with stone pillars and there's an occasional portrait, statue, or torch. As I near the end of the hall, it turns into a sort of balcony. The pillars are separated by arched windows. I get a nice view of the fjord from here. The light from outside pours into the hall and lights up the bricks with a pink glow. A large door stands at the end of the hallway, the light shining off it, making it contrast against the walls. I approach it and grab onto the handle. There's some resistance as I pull on the door, and I'm forced to put my back into it. I pull harder and it finally budges. I swing the door open and I'm met with a wonderful smell. My eyes are instantly drawn to a large, empty pool in the center of the room, with a towering fountain in the center, and gamer windows. It's this close to being RGB. The faucet is shaped like a weird spiraled antler and made of a gold metal. I step into the room, the noise echoing off the walls. Even with the sound of my shoes hitting the ground, the room is peacefully quiet. To my right are 3 tall windows. The glass is stained blue, green, and yellow. The green one is in the middle and slightly taller than the other 2. Figures. I whisper this I whisper this to myself under my breath. Reverberates around the room regardless. On my left, there's another large door, presumably leading to a place to change. There are some carved benches against the walls, and some towels which have been folded and stacked next to a laundry chute. I set the clothes that I plan on changing into next to the towels, making sure the surface is dry. I turn and look at the pool, circling the edge, examining the fountain and trying to figure it out. After another quick scan of the room, I see some levers up against the wall in the corner. Waking up to them, I see they have different colored handles, and I figure this is the contraption to get the water flowing. One of the handles says water, another says mineral water, one says salt. Each handle has a different type of bath water, and some have soaps labeled on them. I don't really know which to choose, so I decided to have some fun and just pull all the levers by just a bit. There's a rumbling in the walls that travels up through the floors and pipes snaking around under my feet. Nuclear launch detected.
Oh, God. I would not be very confident to do any of this.
It's a little scary just to pull every single thing at once. What could go wrong? The wall explodes. Water starts to funnel out from the prongs of the antler, arching through the air and pulling into the bowl in the center. The water is all different colors, probably due to it being mixed with so many kinds of soaps and other bath products.
Pretty.
It fills up the bowl in the center quickly, and soon the pillar of water starts to flow over the edge to the rim, splashing at the bottom of the pool. Do you think the bowl automatically drains in the middle? Or do you think it just has like leftover bath water all the time from last time?
Logistics.
Because
I would guess it would be like, you know, how your sinks sometimes have those little like 3 holes in the back where it's kind of like, here's the overflow.
Yeah. Like that's the overflow. Like I mean like the because I'm sure there's like a drain and whatnot in the actual tub.
Right.
But there's a bowl above like overhead. It's designed to like fill and mix or something and then overflow. But what happens to all the leftover water when you turn it off?
Oh, I see.
Does it stagnate?
Who knows? Maybe it's not a bowl after all.
Is there a release?
It gives me big like Spirited Away vibes, where it's just like there is something very enchanting about mystical fantasy plumbing. It's just like, oh, it's like lever that hangs from the ceiling and you pull it and then water spews at like.
What's forgotten is the 500 slaves in the walls that power the
exactly.
whole thing.
That's
like,
honestly, that's what's happening here. There's somebody working the, downstairs, going like, oh, God, who the fuck's taking a bath right now?
There's an entire book in the Mist universe that's based around that idea. It's like there's this beautiful, incredible, like lavish place with all these like feasts and all these devices that all work and on, and they're all powered by like just people in the walls. Like the entire class of person that just has to make that work, like in Parasite. And we do that in real life all the time. Like Amazon's like weird stores, they're just like, come in and just grab what you want and walk out and you'll be charged automatically. And in reality, like they claimed it was AI doing it, like because it was so advanced, but it was actually just like a bunch of people in India having to watch the security footage and tell what you picked up and like make up for the fact that the technology didn't actually work. and that's like how a lot of that stuff works. They keep doing that. Every time a tech company wants to pretend they have crazy technology, it's always just a dude. Like I think this month, like Elon Musk had that thing where he was trying to convince people he had a robot that was fully AI at his reveal, and it was just a guy piloting it with a full body suit like a room away. Womp womp. After a while, the water is filled to an adequate height. It starts to drain out of the sides so it doesn't overflow. It's a very enchanting sight, watching the light from the colored windows shine into the pale room and bounce off the multicolored pool. The beams of light bounce off the walls and up to the ceiling. I look up and see a large owl statue shelved into the wall above the door where I entered, its wings spread out in a large fan. I walk over to the bench next to the laundry chute and start to strip off my clothes. Once my dirty clothes are removed, I lay them in a pile on the bench and walk over to the large tub, my bare feet cold on the floor. The thick, floral scent that I was hit with when I first entered the bathing room has gotten stronger now that the tub is being churned with different oils and soaps. Large bubbles are foaming on the surface, and they're all beautiful colors. I sit near the edge and slowly lower my foot past the bubbles and into the water. At first the water seems cold, but as my nerves register the feeling, there's a warm sensation around my foot. I ease myself into the water, and the warmth surrounds my body as I lean against the wall of the pool with my back to the entrance. The water is thick with fragrance and feels amazing on the skin. I dunk my hand under the water, closing my eyes as I quickly wet my hair. When I bring my head back out of the water, I feel refreshed and rejuvenated. Although Lyall said I didn't smell, there was no denying that I felt very dirty. It's also been another day. I carefully
Did we mention our bandages before going under the water?
I don't know.
God, you just like submerge the scar into the soapy water. It's like, ah! Like,
Oh, there's another
screaming
color.
pain.
Oh, wow, there's even more colors. Oh, wait.
Oh, God.
Wow, I sure was dirty. All of your humors are leaking out.
Yeah.
I carefully start to rub at my arms and legs, cleaning myself as best I can. The waters wash away my worries, and my mind drifts away from all of the strange things that have happened so far, along with the weird dream I had this morning. I finish cleaning everything and lean back against the wall of the pool, closing my eyes to rest for a minute. As I sit there, I can feel the warm waters soak into my skin, losing myself to the feeling of comfort. I only have my eyes closed for what feels like a moment before I hear the door to my left open. Dick!
Hello.
Penis.
Now, there is a hide adult content thing in the settings I just checked, but it does not hide this, so...
What does it hide then? Just scenes?
There are scenes, but yeah, the nude sprites. Some VNs, they'll do the thing where they've got like alternate sprites where it's just the dick blacked out, but
yeah, or undrawn or something. Nope, I just get to edit later.
Yep.
Oh god. I'll also just probably open up the Lyall folder if this is one of the games that's navigatable normally, and just put a censor as sprites after the session. So that in the future I don't have more work. And also it means that the censor will be behind the text instead of in front of the text, because
this is true.
An unfortunate anatomical fact is that dicks tend to be at text height. Which is very unhelpful.
Yeah.
Lyall steps into the room, sliding through the half-open doorway. He stops in his tracks when he sees me, and time seems to freeze. He shakes his head as if trying to clear his mind, and then takes a few steps forward, averting his gaze.
I didn't think anyone else would be in here.
Circumcised werewolf. We're all thinking it. I can no longer relish the warmth of the water as I sit there, frozen with shock. My spine feels like it's made of ice, and any sudden movement might break it. I just stare at him with wide eyes. He stops in place, waiting for my response, and then continues to shuffle towards the bath. Walking to the edge of the pool that's across from me, he slowly starts to get in. Like a fool, sitting in the water with a dumbstruck look on my face. Oh, I look like a fool, sitting in the water with a dumbstruck look on my face. I try to keep my eyes on his, but they fall to the one place I knew they would. There's a magnetism to it. I can't help but glance at his bits as they rest there between his legs in full view. They're quite large, and I quickly gather my thoughts and try to come up with something to say. Something to fill the silence, threatening to kill me. I really needed a bath. Yes, thank you. We knew what the spoon's for. I bring my arms in and slink into the water. And now he's out of view. Perfect.
Voila.
Lyall steps into the water and leans back against the wall with his arms crossed over his chest. He's in the Ransona pose. There's a small wave created from him getting into the water, which rolls over to my end of the pool. His bushy tail floats on the surface behind him before getting too wet and slowly sinking under the water.
I would feel the same if I had been through what you've been through.
Yes. He's very coherent right now.
Super smooth.
Uh-huh.
The Riz is off the charts,
Yep.
Richter. The Richter Riz.
I'm reminded of your Otter comic.
Yeah, no, exactly. Smooth.
Yeah, where he just completely forgets how to speak because there's a giant crocodile. The awkward silence fills the room once more as we both sit there. The red slowly fades from my face over time as I grow more and more comfortable with the situation. So, how was your morning? He's still quiet, before giving a deep breath and answering.
It was pleasant. I got plenty of sleep and went for a morning run.
He pauses again.
I do have a massive headache, though, but it should leave as quickly as it arrived. How are you feeling?
He starts to rub at his arms and torso, cleaning his fur. I feel good, I suppose. I got a lot more sleep than I thought I would. After sleeping for so long, I was surprised to get any.
That's good to hear.
There's another pause in our conversation, and Lyall takes this moment to begin wetting his fur. I can tell he's just pretending to busy himself to avoid the tense feelings floating on the room. He dunks his head under the water and comes up a few seconds later, the fur around his neck completely drenched. He catches me staring at him, and I casually avert my gaze. He continues, splashing around in the water, then speaks up. Bashful Lyall.
I love it.
Awkward wet dog.
This is a nice... Yeah, just like the posture is like really selling his vibe.
Trying to shrink, but oops, you're 8.5 feet tall or something.
The neck flute, so main characteristic, the main boyfriend characteristic for Lyall here is the neck flute. If I want to draw our attention to it, I want to, like kind of salesperson, like kind of dragging my hands underneath it. Like that is wonderful. Like you can touch it, you press your face in it, you can do anything you want with it. But eating with that, it's like having a bib for your entire life, and I cannot imagine like when you're bathing, just needing to like really get in there and just like oh yeah, look at the crust. That was the scoop.
That was from this one was from last week.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of like little bits of.
That's the soup cloth.
Oh no!
Soup man. Ugh.
I know this is a public bath, but I hope I'm not invading your privacy. I wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable.
I can't blame him, but of course it was uncomfortable. Here I am enjoying a nice bath alone with my thoughts, and in steps an exposed wolfman. In any other situation I wouldn't mind, but I was not prepared for this. The blush has deepened. I glance in his direction and see an embarrassed look on his face. Don't worry about it. I try to relax and move my way around the bench.
Okay.
I watch him scrub the fur around his shoulders and neck, and then splash water on himself. He then ducks his entire head under the water and begins to scrub away, his ears flopping around. The water gets a soup-like texture. I just sit there and stare at him for a bit. When I catch myself staring at him for too long, I avert my eyes to the reflection on the surface of the water. The silence goes on for some time, and we sit there for about 3 minutes. He continues to clean himself, and I just sit there. Did I get up and leave? I finished bathing a while ago, and I'm pretty sure I could just go. Do I want him to see me nude as I leave, though?
Just own it. It's just like, yes, fuck yes.
Any other time I wouldn't have an issue with this, but it's different now. I can't come up with a reason why. Staying might be alright, I suppose. I just hope he doesn't think I'm staying so that I can get a look at him. We wouldn't want to have accurate reads on situations. Lyall's eyes are closed as he leans back against the edge of the pool. Then it gives me an amused snort.
Richter.
Yes, Lyall?
You added too much soap.
I can't see anything. He snickers at this. Sorry, I thought I would experiment with it. I didn't know exactly how to use the levers.
It's fine. Other than the fact my fur is going to be extremely poofy by the end of this.
Aww.
A big cotton ball nose sticking out of it.
Just roll him like a katamari.
Do you think he sometimes puts a little bow at the end of his mane?
Oh my god. A
And
little,
just
yeah, tying it up.
floats.
You can do a lot with that. That's got to be a fun art project, that mane.
What is that? Not Guilty Gear. There's some kind of... I played some kind of fighting game where one of the characters is like a old man butler or something that transforms into a wolf. And he has a ponytail with a ribbon on the end, and so does the wolf form.
It was the Rhythm game, right?
No, it's a fighting game. It's the fighting game series that has so much fucking story. Like it has a full-on visual novel that plays out in between the fights.
And we'll be checking.
But there's too many fighting games, and I don't know them. But I think I did it. I think I covered it for a moment, like 6 years ago, probably. He lifts his paw from the water and pinches his finger and thumb together to emphasize how little I should use.
Mixing the water's fine. But the soap is tricky.
Sure, thanks. There's more silence as we sit there listening to the soft noise of the water pooling from the fountain. You know,
Oh, wait, I forgot to mention something to you. I got a message from the king to let you know that supper will be at 7.
That's great. Where's supper?
Oh, it's in one of the royal dining rooms. I'll escort you there at 15 till. Oh, and don't be intimidated. He's a very kind man. Even if he looks a bit intimidating.
He's a deer, right?
Yes, he is.
That's all I really need to know about him. That's really all I really do know about him, I think is what I said, not need to know.
Jesus. Suddenly they're like, whoa!
Whoa, damn. Poorly chosen ambassador. Oh yes, I am deeply racist.
You don't know his name?
No, I know his name, but back home in Erin, everybody refers to him as the Stag King. Not meaning any offense by it, of course. I feel like it might have been rude to say that about his king. Then again, nobody ever says it with ill intent.
Trust me, no offense was taken. Just don't say anything like that in front of him. I don't even know how he would react.
He shakes his head and chuckles.
He would probably just laugh it off. Or just not even acknowledge it.
Or execute you at dawn.
Just try not to overanalyze everything that he does.
Even though it's your job.
Yep.
That's something I definitely have trouble with.
Really, it's his son who you should watch your step around.
The prince?
Yeah, he can be a real pain. Jericho, you are voicing the prince. I'm just getting that out there now. You are gonna love it.
No!
He's grown to be the exact opposite of his father. Just make sure to get on his good side.
I make a mental note to not piss off the prince. It'll be easy. Okay, I think I can do that. After all, it's part of my job. Kissing up to the right people. Speaking of. He smirks at this and leans back, staring at the ceiling. My eyes drift around the room, landing on him occasionally. I don't want to be rude, but my curiosity betrays me, and my eyes lock onto him. Back in Erin, it was a rare sight to see a wolfman, even with the small population of other species. I've never been so close to one, especially in a situation like this. The way his fur gleams in the light, the way his ears twitch around at every little noise. His body is much larger than mine, and if I hadn't been introduced to his gentle personality, I think he was a bit intimidating. There I go again, getting carried away with my thoughts. I managed to compose myself and sit up straight. I watch the fountain flow down, creating ripples in the water as I try to take my mind off of certain things. After a while, the tense silence breaks as I hear Lyall disturb the water.
Well, I've had enough water.
I'm all full. I watch him turn around and lift himself from the pool. But...
Heyo.
Butt shot.
We're getting that one in early. This is...
Immediate butt shot. Don't even have to play the whole game to get to it. I get a glimpse at his rear and hastily look down, biting my lip. It's a sight that quickly gets my blood pumping. Whoops. Gonna have to stay under the water for another 10 minutes. He gets up and walks over to one of the benches where I see him see some clothes laid out. He takes a towel and starts drying himself off. By the end, his fur is really fluffy, and he combs it down with his paws. While I'm watching his tail swish back and forth, he slowly turns and his gaze meets mine. I quickly look away and hope he didn't see me ogling him. He did. Literally nothing else to see. I can see him stand there, frozen out of the corner of my eye. Then he continues to dress. Other butt shot. Butt shot 2.
Kundoshi shot.
Yup. Looking back up, once I think it's safe, I see he's already put his underwear on, and is now bending over, trying to stick his leg into a pair of trousers. I can't seem to take my eyes off of him, and I'm pretty sure he notices, because he's bent over with his head upside down between his legs. He's looking at me while shaking his tail. And now he's in blushy mode.
Blushing.
Yo. There's a smirk on his face, and I realize that he's teasing me while pulling up his trousers. Whoops, you fucked up. You actually sat gay instead of sat straight. Common mistake. He knows I'm looking and is making fun of me for it. Yeah. I look away with an embarrassed expression plastered on my stupid face and decide to keep my eyes trained on the water for now. I'm still looking down at the water when I hear him walk up to the edge, his feet splashing the small puddles that have formed on the ground. Nope, he's dressed. He stands there, smiling down at me with a loose shirt and trousers on.
I suppose I'll see you back at your room.
Forward? How dare you?
Yeah.
Sir, this is a Christian furry convention. Yes. I'll see you in a bit. I try not to look at him as I say this, too embarrassed to look at in his eyes. He looks around for a second, then gives me a nod. He walks behind me, and I hear him go through the door. I sit there for a bit longer, waiting for the hot feeling in my cheeks to go away before getting out. Why is he teasing me like that? Was it because I was staring too much? Uh-huh. It wasn't solely out of attraction. I'm not used to seeing men like him. Was he trying to... I just missed the thought from my mind and rise from the pool. Once I do, I slip a little bit when walking over to the levers. I pull the lever at the end, and the water shuts off entirely, the rest of the levers rising slightly in response. The water drains, then I hear the pool filling up again. I peer over at the edge and see it filling up with fresh water. I guess that's how they clean the pool out of any soap left behind. I grab one of the towels from the bench and start drying myself off. Once I'm done with that, I throw it down the chute and start putting on my clothes. It's not difficult, but it still hurts a bit due to the soreness of my wound. Once I push the last button into place, I walk over to the bench next to the door and put on my shoes. I then make my way out of the bathroom. When I step out, the sun is high in the sky, and a few birds fly by the pillars. I look down at the ground and see Lyall's wet footprints making a trail down the hall. I shake my head and chuckle, walking over to the edge of the window. Looking out the window, I get a better view of the kingdom. I see homes scattered about, and if I crane my head in the right direction, I get glimpses of the city and the fjord. The streets are busy with homes. The streets are busy, and the homes are stacked up the hill, forming different reeds and alleys. I gaze a bit longer, watching as everyone goes about their morning, then sigh. I can't shake off the thoughts running through my head right now. No matter how hard I try to clear my mind, it feels wrong being so infatuated with a man I just met. Not to mention the fact that he's my bodyguard. And a wolf man. Forbidden love. I mean, it's not unheard of. I shake my head, ashamed of myself. It's just something about him. Something Omega-versy. Sure, he's good looking, but he's different from most people I've met. Just overcome as an Omega with his alpha prowess. The pheromones. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders, and he has a kind heart, though he humbly tries his best to hide it. He's easy to connect with. Of course, this is just my first impression of him. There's one more thing I really like about him, though. He seems genuinely hung. He seems genuine.
Yeah.
The hours drag by slowly. I spent most of the afternoon after lunch going through scrolls, documents, and letters that were sent with me to deliver to the king and his council. Most of these go to the king, though. To be personally delivered to him. I don't think he has a very large council, which is partly why I'm here. To help wherever I can. Lyall came back to my room sometime after lunch, relieving the guard who took over while he was gone. He peeked in and asked if I needed anything while I was working. I invited him in because I knew that I still wanted to pry some information out of him about what's to come. Sure, I've been in this position for some time, but this is the first time outside of my own kingdom. And they seem to do things differently around here. I also feel like I might come across as crass if I were to avoid him after what happened in the bathroom. Also, I truly enjoy his company. This guy's doing a lot of internal work to justify a really basic act.
Yeah.
He's really fixated on this whole process. He's sitting in the same chair he sat in last night, toying around with a dagger. I pick up one of the letters from the small pile and place it in a stack, designated for the king's eyes.
That's a lot of letters.
Yeah,
You
it's
deliver the king's mail.
a few hundred per page. He says with a snark.
Funny.
I'm so funny. I'm a funny man. Everybody used to say I'm funny. Please, I need affirmations. Ah.
We got this.
He says this in a snarky tone while resting the end of his finger on the tip of his dagger. I sigh, dropping my hands slowly and glancing out the window. Yes. Reasoning behind this was to ensure that all of these... I gazed back at him while gesturing to the letters. Got here. But after the rock slide, some seem to have gone missing.
The north winds have probably carried them all the way to the golden timber by now. My men gathered up as many of them as they could, though.
I raise an eyebrow as I hold up one of the scrolls which has been smeared with dirt. I know. The trunk was practically smashed to pieces.
The lid was bent a little, nothing more.
I'm surprised the lid was still there. He stifles a giggle and grins at me. Tee. It brings me out of my sour, overworked mood for a fleeting moment. His toothy grin is truly contagious. I grab some of the letters, bunching them up together, and stacking them on the desk. Putting away the other scrolls, I sit at my workspace for a minute, with my hands folded on my lap. I go back and forth from staring out the window to looking at Lyall. His bushy tail sticks out the back of his chair and sweeps the floor, slowing down over time. He sits there for a minute, tinkering with his blade before lowering his shoulders, letting out a breathy sigh.
What?
Huh?
Why are you staring at me? Is this about earlier? Are you thinking about my thicky, my big clapping cheeks? They want my attention to.
I'm sorry
I'm
about.
sorry about.
I don't know why we're starting. Can you randomly starting to read?
Your.
What? No. What? No. I just wanted to talk about a gesture behind me at the door. What to expect. You know, when we...
Oh.
So...
Sorry, I just thought that.
She was thinking about your eyes on my tallywhacker.
Oh my god. Tallywhack.
Such a funny word. It's great. He shivers. I'm sorry, my brain just fixated on the fact that so much furry art likes to add tally marks specifically, which makes that term much funnier. He shivers, shaking his head a bit.
I mean, like I said, you really don't need to prepare for much. It's just dinner.
Me, however.
Have fun with it. I'm dessert.
It's just dinner with, you know, the king. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure.
Famously low stakes environment. No wrong answers. We're all friends here. I know, but I just want to make a good first impression. If I screw this up, I won't be taken seriously in my profession ever again.
Your profession?
He leans back in his seat and laughs.
You won't be taken seriously at the dining table.
He says without a hint of sarcasm.
However, if it's anything like the dinner we had last night, I'm sure it'll do fine.
He winks at me after he says this, which flusters me for a moment.
Personally, I think you're over-exaggerating.
Maybe I am. In any other place, this would be reasonable, but... Does he tend to take these things seriously? He thinks for a moment, his nose twitching.
Really? I mean, he does. He just takes a more relaxed approach.
That sounds like it's going to make my job a lot easier. I'll take your word for it. So, Richter will be executed at dawn. The rest of the day passes by without trouble. I started to feel very tired at one point, or maybe I just needed to stretch my legs. Either way, I laid in bed to rest for a bit and almost fell asleep. Lyall came in and nudged me back to reality. He told me that we should leave soon, and so I put on my suit. The soap from the bath did wonders to my hair, giving it a really nice shine. It feels very nice as well. Nicer than it's felt in a long time. I pick up my letters and scrolls off the desk and make my way to the door. I look down the hall to see Lyall with his arms resting on the sill of the window. He's watching the sun go down behind the mountains, and his figure is engulfed in warm light. His tail is swaying slowly behind him, and his eyes are glazed with evening light. When I get closer, he turns his head and smiles.
Look at that sunset.
I stand next to him and look out the window. The sun eclipses behind the mountains as its warm light cascades over the landscape. The grassy hills are bathed in a deep light as the wind creates waves across them. A soft wind blows through the hall and twists around the pillars.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yes, it's very beautiful.
You're probably not used to views like this. You'll find that Lyre is a very beautiful place.
I'm sure I will. Back home there aren't as many mountains, but the way the sun shimmers on the waters of the coast is almost enchanting. The beaches are as wide as the moon, and the water is crystal clear.
I've never been that far west before.
Never.
Yes, I've spent all my life on this side of the continent. It would be nice to go explore the rest of Tigran. Tigran is what I'm going with.
I think I already know the answer, but I ask him anyway. Why don't you? He lowers his head with a bittersweet smile.
Unless this kingdom sprouts legs and walks across the entirety of Tigran, I can't. Tigran? Tigran sounds a little bit better. I have given my life and heart to the king and his kingdom.
The only correct answer is just to keep alternating for the rest of the playthrough.
Yeah, Lyall, but Tigran,
Yeah.
Yanni, Laurel.
I'll be doing this for the rest of my life.
He gestures out across the landscape. That sounds sad.
It's not all bad. I did go south once. Maybe duty will call me to other places as well.
Down south. He lets out a dreary sigh.
Still, that was before I was a knight. I'm not sure if I'll ever have opportunities like that ever again.
We begin walking down the hall at a slow pace. I think you would like Erin. It's a beautiful place, with a perfect climate. Rolling hills, plenty of wonderful sights to see.
I'm more interested in stranger places.
Like?
Like the Shadow Gulch or the Parched Labyrinth.
Is that what we're calling them now?
And I just wanted to go somewhere new. Somewhere different. Different from this.
He gestures outside.
After a while, it starts to feel like the mountains are closing in around you. It can get a bit claustrophobic.
I nod in agreement, and we walk in silence a bit longer. Lyall is walking with his paws behind his back and his chin high. Keeps opening his mouth as if he's about to say something, only to close it. Finally, he speaks.
I'm sorry about earlier.
What?
Snapping at you like that. It's my fault anyway. I could sense you were uncomfortable the whole time, but I thought I could make things less uncomfortable if I just played it casual. I also figured that since you were looking, I would tease you as a joke. I'm usually the only one in there during that time of day.
Is this about the bathroom? Yes, Richter.
I was... Yes?
I reach over and place my hand on his back. It's fine. He grimaces, then puts on a shy grin.
You're right, I'm sorry. I just tend to overthink these things. The last thing I wanted to do is make it seem like I was being overly...
I didn't know you were so shy about your body. You didn't have to pretend to be so open just for me. My jest gets him as I watch his mouth curl like he's trying to stop a smile.
I'm not, it's just...
He sighs and waves his paw dismissively. I let out a slight chuckle.
Ha!
What?
You have a nice laugh.
Vanishes into my own clothing. I can feel my face flush red. Please don't say that. We laugh together for a moment, then carry on the rest of our walk in silence. All done. No more talking. So every region has a Y in its name, I think. It's Lyre,
Driz,
Erin,
Tigran,
and then Lyall. We'll be exploring that map later.
Hey.
Hey. The joke every time is gay. It's the only joke. Delving far into the interior of the castle, we twist and turn through the halls. The torches lining the hallway are lit with a glowing blue fire. As we make our way deeper and deeper into the castle, we pass framed paintings of noble-looking people. I see a badger dressed in colorful clothing with a large ruff around his neck. A little ways down, I see a portrait of a fox clad in white and purple silk dress and a shawl. After a few more portraits, we come across a large pair of double doors.
Well, here we are. Are you ready?
I swallow the lump in my throat and nod, straightening out my clothes. It's just dinner. It's just dinner.
Calm down. He just wants to meet you.
Lyall walks up to one of the large doors and raps at it. For a moment, there's only the sound of the door knocker echoing down the empty halls. Then there's the sound of someone clearing their throat, and a voice calls out from the other side. Who's going to be the deer man?
I think you should be the deer king.
I should be the deer king?
Yeah,
Be
I'm carefully metering this out. I'm trying not to... Yeah, you get the idea.
Come in. Lyall glances in my direction with a smile and opens the door. And I think we'll pick this up next time. Next week. Do cliffhangers and stuff. How you thinking? Well, how are we feeling today?
Definitely more engaged
And
than
Beak?
the last visual.
Yeah. No, Beak did not work. That, no. Especially with that, it just has endings where you just, nothing interesting happens. But, yeah. I think we have not accidentally opted out of the entire Lyall romance preemptively this time, so that's a change of pace from our last game we've recorded. Yeah, looking forward to seeing where things go. Now we'll get to meet the characters and get things in motion. This does have a bit of the classic furry visual novel intro pacing, where it's like, all right, we'll get there.
Yeah.
A few hours and things will get going.
So again, like giving my background with this VM being like I read Adastra and then I was like, holy shit, furry visual novels, and then Live Louise's channel came in like a bat out of hell, like just introducing me to all kinds of stuff. But this was one of the ones that was on it, and I just remember I was like immediately very taken in by Lyre because like the thing that I think it does kind of the best is like it creates an atmosphere that just kind of all comes together and works. And like just something about that first scene, even though it's like, again, we kind of get that sense through this whole first session. Just kind of like, wow, we are really getting into the nitty gritty of like the plumbing and stuff that like I don't think is going to play any major part. But it was like I'm kind of immediately like just everything that I'm being given information is kind of adding up to a pretty cohesive image of like what this setting is like and what the rules are here. It also helps that, you know, Atmac is the sole person. So like all the characters and particularly the environments are just like I'll have more to say later about just like I think the art direction in the backgrounds is really, really well considered and just like it's a super cohesively designed castle so far. That's like, all right, you've made a world, and you know, for all the furries that are out there that want to give their, I mean, that was the thing. It was like Beak was like it was a whole isekai setting, and we did have some pretty highfalutin art, but my God, I have no idea what that world was supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know what the place is like at all. There's a struggle.
But it's just like, okay, plant castle, like, got it.
The
Plant castle, there are fjords.
The game somewhat doomed itself, where it tries to introduce a wild fantasy setting while only being able to convey it to you via somebody telling to you as a secondhand witness. And like, that's a hard way to absorb things. Like, yeah, doing everything yourself is wild, but like having all the backgrounds and stuff is very neat. Like it's a lot of games have very few backgrounds or just like photos with filters over them, and it's a lot harder to like get into like what you're looking at and what's supposed to be. Great to see it all up front. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this week, and I'm gonna now override my save from May last year.
Damn.
Lyall reacts to you.
Cute.
Oh, that's so cute.
Sees you. So many Lyalls. They will all be eliminated one by one. Overwritten with pictures of tables.